This is Real to Real Podcast. Real stories, real sports. And here's your host, Wube Gabre.
Welcome to another episode of Real to Real. And just for the record, man, I've been wanting to get this man on my show for a long time. I bumped into him a few months ago and I said, hey, when that season get ready to start, man, we're going to have to talk, man. He's a Dunn North Carolina native. He went to Fayetteville State where he played wide receiver. He's coached at various stops such as Denbigh, Bethel, Heritage, the Apprentice School, and just recently he was the director of recruiting. And now he's the head coach of the Bethel Bruins. For everybody who knows, it's called hashtag 1067.
1067.
And it's my pleasure, man, to introduce the head coach of the Bethel Bruins, Mr. David Porter. Coach.
Yes, sir.
I know you've been grinding, man. I really appreciate you fitting me in, but man.
Anytime, man.
Hey, listen, man, we talked about it off air. You know, if you're going down 95, you see that big rooms to go warehouse, man. It used to be a champion warehouse for everybody that's from down that area. Talk to me about growing up in Dunn, North Carolina.
Oh, man, small town. Everybody knows you. You know, you get in trouble. Mom at the corner gonna whoop you, her kid, and then send you home to get another whooping. Yeah, small town, man, small community. Actually, we have a lot of guys that have done well from there. Clayton White, childhood friend, he's a defensive coordinator at South Carolina.
Okay.
Got another friend, Damian Adams. We played together in college. He's defensive coordinator at Campbell University.
Nice.
So we've had a lot of guys to make it out of there. It's, you know, small town. Everybody knows everybody. We all did the little knucklehead stuff growing up.
Yeah, we all did.
Nothing like playing football, getting off the bus in the jeans that you know you ain't supposed to play in. I think I invented that one. I got a lot of whoopings for the grass stains and the white jeans.
Oh man, with me and you both, man, I would be scared to go home after that, bro.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
The little holes in your knees and the grass stain. You knew you couldn't wear them again. Your mom, you waiting for your mom to get home, so you try to hide them, but she found them and took care of you when you got home.
Oh, not my mom. She put the patches in the hole.
Yeah, mine too. For sure, mine too.
Yep.
Mine too. So look, man, talk about your high school career, man. In Dunn, North Carolina.
Man, played at Triton High School.
Okay.
I was lucky. Never played a JV sport. Played 4 years of varsity football, 4 years varsity basketball. We had some really good coaches, man, and my coaches really are the guys that helped me get out of there because, you know, like, again, everybody's small town, you think small. Our coaches, if you look at today at the knowledge that a lot of high school coaches have, our high school coaches didn't have that. They just cared about you.
Right.
They just really cared. So a lot of times, even when that process helped me with hiring my assistants, it don't always have to be a X and O guy.
Right.
You have to find guys that really care about kids. Right. And those were my high school coaches. My Barry Honeycutt was my high school football coach. He really cared about us. Really cared about us. Billy Ray Turner was my high school basketball coach. Really cared about us. Was a funny guy in teaching in school. He was the civics teacher, he was driver's ed guy. They really cared about us and us moving forward.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Coach, because, you know, they always say it's not about the X's and O's, but the Jimmys and Joes. But coaches who care about you, man, and will go that extra mile to do whatever it takes to get you to not only the next level, but just prepare you for life, man. It's one of a kind. You gotta love that the coaches just cared about you more than, you know, wanted to see you go to the next level. They just want to make sure you're productive citizens coming out of Dunn, North Carolina, man. And I'm sure you picked up on that doing your coaching philosophy as well.
Yep, absolutely. When I hired guys, yep. I look for guys. I can teach you inside zone. I can teach you shallow concept, but do you care about kids? Are you willing to do whatever this kid needs to do to move on? And I stress to our guys, I don't care if it's college, I don't care if it's the workforce, I don't care if it's the military. You need to do something to be a productive citizen after you leave Bethel High School. And our coaching staff, which they know I drilled into them about this, we're going to be a part of that process as much as we're allowed, you know, because ultimately the parent got a lot to say so in that stuff. But for as much as we're allowed, we're going to be a part of that process.
Well, look, you moved on. You went to Fayetteville State. Talk to me about that whole process and why did you end up going to Fayetteville State and choosing them for college?
Fayetteville State, man, it wasn't a cool thing to do whenever I was coming out of high school. I always take credit for. I say I'll be the first one to start the trend of guys to go to Fayetteville State, because after I went, a lot of my guys from the high school ended up going and playing. But a Dunn native ended up becoming the head coach there. So of course he came in and hit the area real hard trying to find guys. A lot of opportunities were missed because of, again, just doing knucklehead stuff. And last minute qualified Division II. I signed my letter of intent, and I tell my guys now with recruiting, everybody's recruitment is going to be different. Right. I signed my letter of intent in May of my senior year.
Wow! Right before,
because I moved over junior college and all these other opportunities and things that you think you have or that you have, and now because of you not handling your business, you lose.
Tell them, preach to them, coach. Yep.
So I ended up. I needed a 900 on my SAT. I took it the first time. I got 820. I was like, man, I can go to junior college and I'll be fine. But then guys were like, hey, man, if you have an opportunity to go to college, unless you're dead set on the NFL, go take that opportunity. I ended up taking it again. My test score jumped more than 100 points.
There you go.
NCAA red flagged me. What? So my first day in college, I had to take the SAT again and my college placement test.
Wow.
So the NCAA and the SAT folks in Jersey sit the person down for that second test, and you're in a room and you have a briefcase. They pop it open. You got 2 pencils and you got the booklet, and they sit there and watch you test.
What? Dang.
So yeah, it's a crazy process. But it, again, self-inflicted. Because I wouldn't do right. Yep. But it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. You went to Fayetteville State, had a great career there, man. Talk to me about when everything cleared and you were qualified. When you finally got on campus and you were a student athlete, what was that whole experience like?
One of the best experiences of my life. I tell people all the time, college is a great 4 years. I made lifelong friends. Yep. Some of my best friends are guys that I played ball with. That bonding that you do over two-a-days, that you do in the locker room, that you do on those bus trips. I became really good friends with a lot of guys. I've been in people's weddings. I've been godfathers. I've named people godfathers of my kids. It was a great, great, great experience. A lot of places I saw because of the football opportunity, probably would never saw. A lot of states I got the chance to visit. You play against guys who end up making it to the NFL. You're like, wow, I remember playing against him. Yep. So that was cool.
That's a lot of people don't understand that the travel aspect. You get to go to, like you said, go places that you probably would never dream of going or think of going when you were 18 to 23 years old. So right. That's a perk, man. So when did you start thinking about coaching, Coach? Was it at Fayetteville State? Was back in high school growing up in Dunn, or was that like something that happened later on in life?
So we laugh about it all the time because we were always, trying to set up the games. Hey, you do this, and this is you, and this is you. So we kind of think that was where the coaching bug started. Once I got to college, I was looking to major in business. And my advisor was like, hey, man, business is very broad. You got marketing, you got management, you got administration. It's like, have you ever thought about coaching? And I was like, not really, but it's an option. He's like, well, you should go into education. As long as you stay certified, you'll always have a job.
Word. That's what
and then once I started playing and learning the little nuances and things that I didn't know coming from high school, like, man, I need to pass this on to someone else. And I think that's where it really came from.
So your first gig was what? With Denbigh?
Denbigh. So so my junior year in college, my son, my oldest, was born. And at that point, my senior year rolled around. I had another year eligibility left. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to the NFL. I have a child.
Right.
Do I come back and play it last year? Do I go ahead and start off work? Luckily, got the job off from Newport News Public Schools, nice. October my senior year.
Nice.
I made my decision right then. I'm going to work. Came up here, like I said, started at Denbigh High School. Tracy Arod ended up being my next door neighbor. Yep. Coached at Denbigh, coached at Bruton, coached at Apprentice School, like one of the best coaches I've ever been around. Kind of took me under his wing, showed me the ropes. Coach Cawthorn was the head coach at the time. That was Antoine Bethet's senior year.
Okay.
That was the first gig. I coached receivers and defensive backs there. So I did those for a couple years. And that was another good experience. I made a lot of friends there that I still talk to this day.
Got a chance to see a guy develop and make it to the NFL.
Right.
Out of Denbigh and Howard. And speaking of Howard, you mentioned him, and I was going to talk about him later on, but your son, I got a chance to see him in high school, and I covered the MEAC, so I got a chance to see him at Howard too, man. He was a baller, bro. Like, talk to me about that. Just how proud of were you to see him go through the process and get to a Division I school and do his thing up there in DC? Extremely
proud. One of the things that ended up happening was I ended up being single dad, so I had him with me. So he was the ball boy in a lot of places. For my first stint at Bethel, he was my ball boy. And by the time I got to Heritage, he was walking into high school, so I got to play against him. I'm 2-0 against him. And
you're not gonna let him down on that one.
Man, listen, that week in the house was cold, man. What we eating tonight? Hey, man, you got to fend for yourself this week. You got to figure it out. But I'm extremely proud of him, man. Yeah, I was tough on him because I knew the pitfalls that young black men fall into. I know the things that I did. I knew the things I got away with. I knew the things my mom didn't know that I was doing. So I was already, on him about those things. Now, did he do a lot of stupid stuff, make mistakes? Yes. Yeah. Did he do the same thing twice? No.
Right.
But I'm extremely proud of him. He graduated Howard back in May. Nice. He's at Virginia State now. He's gonna play in his final 2 years and get his master's degree in sports management.
Nice.
So he's doing real well.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. You go from Denbigh, then you come to Bethel. That's when Bethel was changing coaches. They had what? Coach Beverly first got there, right?
I was there with Nelson.
That's right. I'm sorry, Nelson. Nelson. And then Hooker, Coach Hooker as well, man. Talk about the transition over Bethel, because you know how Bethel is, and we're gonna talk about your head coaching job in a minute, but we know how much talent Bethel has and had back when you were coaching there. So just talk about that transition from Denbigh to Bethel.
So going from Denbigh to Bethel, when I initially left Denbigh, I came over to Lindsay Middle School. That's where I started teaching at.
Okay.
And it was around the time that my son started school.
Right.
So working and now having him going to school, I had to figure that balance out. So I took a couple of years off, and I reached out. Mutual friend reached out, was like, "Hey man, you should, looking to get back into coaching, man. There's a lot of stuff you holding on to that the kids need."
Right.
I was able to be connected with Coach Nelson. We spoke. He brought me in. We sat down and talked. Everything aligned. Brought me on. During those first 3 years of that Coach Nelson tenure, man, they sent 47 kids to school.
Man,
like nobody really talks about it, man. But 47
I remember those squads.
That's unheard of. Right. It's unheard of. At every level, we sent kids away. Marcus Cooperwood, who swung by practice today and spoke to the guys. Rio Walker, all those guys, JP, all those guys came through those first. Played basketball in UVA. John Tell
Evans. Yep.
John Tell, man, he was an animal running back.
He was.
All those guys came through. So that first 3 year span was really special. A lot of people gave Nelson flack when he got the job because the place he came from, he didn't have a winning record. But they also didn't know the makeup of that school.
Right.
But Coach Nelson was a really good coach, man. The first practice was 4 hours long. And all that practice was the kids getting into the locker room, hanging their stuff up like he told them to in their lockers, getting together, running down what we call Bruin Way to the practice field and lining up. And if you see anybody's toes touch the line, send them back. So for 4 hours, we were sending kids back to the locker room. They had to get undressed, hang the stuff back up in, go back out into the parking lot, and come back and try it again. And that discipline that those kids gained from that went a long ways, through that season.
Yeah, man. I remember those teams, man, went to the playoffs almost every year. Like you said, Rio Walker, he went to Virginia. Copperwood went to Norfolk State. John Tell went to Virginia. Went to Virginia as well. So
basketball.
Yep, basketball, man. So you had some squads, and unfortunately, Coach Nelson had to step down because he got hurt on the sideline.
Right.
And then Coach Hooker comes in, and then you go to the Apprentice School after that, after Bethel.
Yep. Okay. No, with the Heritage. I left
Heritage. That's right, Heritage.
With the Heritage, I was there 2 years. We had a great run there. With Tim Payne, who coaches on my JV staff now, Manye Watson, Jeremiah Boyd, who went to Navy, Manye went to William & Mary, Tim went to Lafayette. We had Marcus Van Hook, who ended up going to Virginia State. Demetri Holloway, who went to JMU, won national championship. We had a lot of guys at Heritage also. A lot of guys.
But look, there's a common theme though, Coach. You naming all these guys, but you on that staff coaching these kids, man.
You know what?
A lot of them.
The one thing that I would never do is take credit for a kid.
I know you wouldn't.
That ability is there, right. Getting them going in the right direction, showing them little nuances and things like that. That's where I come in at. But a lot of these kids, man, have tremendous family backgrounds. Amaya Watson, mom, wonderful. Tim Payne, mom, wonderful. Jeremiah Boyd, mom. We taught together, wonderful. These Demetri Holloway, mom, wonderful. Marcus Van Hook, I can go on and on and on.
Right.
They let you Ricky Walker, those guys, they had like Ricky Walker's fan. I tell him and Nick Clark, I tell his parents, they should travel and do seminars. Anytime you have 3 kids to go off to college, Division I, for free, you're doing something right. You have a formula that works. Sure. But all the kids I've dealt with, majority of them have extremely great, home lives.
Yeah, and that's where it starts. That's where it all starts at home, man. You know what I mean? Yep. So then you go to the college level, Coach. What was that like, going from the high school level to the apprentice school? And they always have sneaky good teams. A lot of people don't talk about the apprentice school. They got a lot of good teams over there in Newport News. So what was that experience like going to the college level? So
get Mark Baycoat hits me up and say, hey, man, it's opening at apprentice school. I plugged your name in. The guy's going to give you a call. Paul White, talked with Coach White. That stuff lined up. So I went over there, got back with Coach Rod, who was coaching there. He was the defensive line coach, linebacker coach at that time. Got with him. I was there. Coach White ended up resigning and taking a high school job. And then John Davis came in, who's now the head coach of Misericordia up in PA, who I worked with last year. Changed the culture, like complete culture shift. Coach White was a tremendous coach. And that's not saying that he wasn't doing things right. And it was a shift in leadership in the school. So they started changing the ways that we did things. They ended up putting us in a conference of schools that was transitioning from NAIA to Division III or Division III to Division II, and even some club teams. Like Ohio State had a club team. Wow. Pitt had a club team. UNC Greensboro had a club team. UNC Chapel Hill had a club team. And we would play those guys. We ended up winning the national championship in that league. Remember that. Which was awesome. But the opportunity that the apprentice school presents, I knew nothing about it. And one of the things I always hang my hat on is I try to send kids to school. I don't care if they play for me. Right. It doesn't matter. Right. If I know somebody that's looking for a kid, I'm going to pass a kid. I don't care what school to go to. Right. But I never knew anything about the apprentice school. And once I get there and I find out these guys, like now they start, freshmen coming in this fall to make $20 an hour. They get a raise every 90 days for the first 2 years. It's every 6 months after that. They got life insurance. They got paid vacation, paid holidays. It's a tremendous opportunity. I knew nothing about it.
Me either. I didn't know anything about it either.
So once I got there, my thing was I'm going to go get as many 757 kids. Yep. And I'm going back to North Carolina, hometown, to bring as many kids in to get these trades, these journeyman cards and these certifications as possible. Because you pay nothing.
Nothing.
It's an amazing opportunity. But the one thing I learned there, and I also learned it with Coach Hooker, was the organization piece. Mm-hmm. Coach Hooker, I tell people all the time, I was just talking to his son Dorsey today. He's probably the greatest offensive line coach I've been at any level of ball in my life.
Really?
Oh, man. Hey. He was amazing. And then to come in and watch his organization and how he would sit there, man, and get his rule out and draw up the practice schedule for the day and organize, detailed notes. He wants everything to the T and structured. And then I get with Coach Davis at Misericordia. I learned a lot from him. Like fun environment. Kids love to play for him. And he's a guy that he's going to move up quick in the profession. Yeah. And he's going to make some noise. He's already shaking the conference up there now. Yeah. I've been fortunate to be around a lot of good coaches and good kids. I can't take any credit for any of that stuff. I've landed in some great spots.
Yeah, I can tell, man. All the players you've been around too. Yeah, I saw Coach Hooker's resume when he first came in. I think he coached with like Lou Holtz and he big time football.
He played for Lou Holtz.
Yeah, he played. That's right. He played with
he played for Lou and William and Mary. Lou Holtz had a little section about him in his book. So yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So then, man, like I said, after the director of recruiting in Pennsylvania, your name starts circling to come back full circle back to Bethel High. What was the whole decision making, Coach, to come back to Bethel, be the head man? Like I said, you knew what kind of talent they had. Like you said earlier, 40-some kids went off to college in a few years. So you know the talent, you know the landscape, you know the community. What was it about coming back to Bethel and being the head coach?
Opportunity presented itself. It was tough. I really loved what I was doing at Misericordia. I love working with Coach Davis. And me and him actually talked about it. He was like, man, the only thing you haven't done is been a high school head coach. You know, you've been a position coach, you've been a coordinator, you've been at the college level, you've been a position coach, you've been coordinator. Like, that's the only thing you hadn't checked in your resume. He's like, college opportunities will always be there. Anywhere I got a job at, you got a job. You're good. That's like, go pursue that. And for me, Bethel's home. That's the longest stint I've had as an assistant coach.
Right.
It's home. It's a lot of people still here from when I was here the first time. Mr. Saunders was the principal my last year. He's still here.
Right.
Administrative staff, super supportive. Yeah. Great. Pace Pierce, Mr. Oliver, who's new here, Miss Garrity, Mr. Saunders, all great people. Mr. Blair, who's here, Miss Howard, who's here now, all great people. So it just made sense when I interviewed. The interview just felt so good. And Lee Martin was the AD still at that time. Lee, great guy. Oh, it's a great guy. Great guy, The interview just felt more like a conversation. And then knowing that Bethel's the biggest high school in Hampton. That's right. 1,700 kids. Right. There was 400 and some odd freshmen this past year. Wow. So you mean tell me I can't get 100 kids, 150 kids to play football? That's what I'm saying. Right. Like when I was here the first time, we'd have 150 kids come to trials. We had to cut kids. Wow. Because of that. So that opportunity, presented itself. It was hard to pass up. I had a list in my head of high schools that I said I would take a job from. Mm-hmm. And Bethel was one of them. So it presented itself, and I'm here. My daughter goes to Ward, so I get the opportunity to see her on the sideline while I'm coaching and maybe catch a couple games. Right. So just like my son went to Ward when I was a Heritage, so it's a great opportunity. I'm extremely happy. Like I said, you miss the college grind because of the opportunities you present for young men, but absolutely. I'm able to present another opportunity from a different angle, being here.
Get them to that next level that you were early, before you got there.
Yep.
The big question, Coach, how do you turn it around, man? I mean, you had a few lean years, and again, Bethel's always. I live behind Bethel. I see you guys practice all the time. I've been around the school. My daughter graduated from there too, so I am trying to figure out how you can turn it around. And like I said, they have talent. You know about that, but how do you turn it around, Coach?
So the first thing is, the culture, right? Fixing the culture. And that's not a shot at any previous coach.
No. That's how
kids get, the last 3 years was rough.
Right.
So we talk about it all the time. A lot of the seniors are COVID babies.
Right.
A lot of them missed 2.5 years of weight room time.
They did.
So the seniors' bodies look a little bit different than the underclassmen because they didn't have that time.
Yeah, that time, right.
And you're talking about a sophomore who never had any high school weight room time because of COVID. So
I didn't think about that. Now you mentioned that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's not an excuse because everybody's real.
That's real. Yeah.
You can look at Phoebus, you can look at Woodside, and I guarantee you, their seniors probably look a little different than the underclassmen.
You're right. That's true. That's true.
But it's not an excuse. But I definitely got to clean the culture up. So the weight room, they had to understand that the weight room is not a play area. I tell them all, they'll tell you, I'm yelling, this is not Pee Wee's Playhouse. Right. We come in the weight room to do work. Right. So March. So I took the job in January, end of January. Mm-hmm. February dead period hit for spring sports to get ready to start. So I couldn't touch the kids. Right. March 7th was the day. First team meeting, weight room, we did measurables. After that, weight program put in place, and start pushing forward. And March and April was me cleaning up you know, or I ain't gonna say cleaning up. I'm gonna say just teaching how to function within the weight room.
Right.
So that was the first 2 months.
Yeah. So
first 2 months, I was ready to get rid of guys and everything.
Right.
Just because it wasn't being done the way I wanted it done.
Correct.
And I felt like I knew the way it should be done. So that was the first 2 months. Cleaning that culture up. Next thing is getting them to do the right. And actually, the first thing is getting them to do the right thing in the school building. Right. I need you to go to class. Yep. I need you to have your hood off. I need you not to have shades on walking around the building. For whatever reason, that's the cool thing now.
Yeah, man.
They want to come to practice and put shades on. I don't know why.
That's the new thing. I don't know either.
So it was, you know, flipping that. I need you to get your butt to class on time. Yeah. I'm tired of getting phone calls about, oh God, coach, these football players, I can't wait till you get in the building. And there was guys that were suspended. Right. I had a couple of them I suspended indefinitely. Right. And they were like, well, what does indefinitely mean? I said, that's the first cousin of forever. So I have to speak to you again. It's going to be permanent. Right. For sure. Guys, about end of April, beginning of May, they start to see it, light come on. Right. They're in the weight room getting it in. Body's starting to look different. I joke with the guys all the time. You can see them walking around now. You know, they flexing and there's not even a mirror in there. And they walking around balled up and
trying to be swole.
Yeah, trying to make the chest jump. So
yeah, man.
That was the first thing. Just trying to find what we were going to call the brewing way. Okay. And implement that. And that was had to be first. Forget scheme. Right. I need you to do the right thing in the school building. I need you to do the right thing in the weight room. I need you to show up. Understand that football now is year round. Yep, it is. So if you really want to be a good football player, you got to be there. Yep. You got to be present. So that was what was going on during that time.
And to piggyback on that, man, like that's the one thing I heard about you, and you saw it on social media how many people were praising the hire and saying it was a great hire for the school because of what you just talked about, how you bring the discipline aspect to the school and to the kids, man. Like I said, I was one of the people saying, man, it was a great hire because I've been watching you for a long time. And I saw your son play, so I was like, if he got his son out here doing this thing, I know he can get these other kids out here doing it, man. But I'm happy for you, man. Like I said, I got to be neutral because I do the high school sports, but I'm always, you know, a cheerleader for Bethel because, you know, say my daughter went there and I know a lot of administration and the Rocky Krum going to be a great AD for the school.
Yes.
Great dude, man. He's a great guy. He's going to get things done. Talk about that schedule a little bit. I know you want to look ahead and you got, you know, Nansemond River is the first game on the schedule, but
Nansemond River, game one.
You've been around the PD. You know how the PD works, man. Just talk about some key games and some key players that you're going to lean on this year.
Man, every game is key.
Right.
Every game is key. I think the Peninsula District, you know, when people start talking about, you know, it's, oh man, it's bad, it's this, it's that. Yeah. I tell people all the time, we had this conversation, I'm like, regardless of how you feel about people, how you feel about the program, how you feel about their scheme, Jeremy Blunt, Danny Dotson, Mike Smith, 3 of the most consistent coaches in the state of Virginia. I don't care how you feel about what they do, it doesn't matter. Yep. So the division always tough. Corey Harrison doing a great job at War. He coached my son.
Round 2, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Rodney Taylor at Mitchville. We coached together at Heritage. Yep. Great dude. Got them rolling in the right direction. Heritage is trying to revive. Mm-hmm. Woodside, again, I just said Danny Dotson, you know.
We know what you can get out of Woodside every year. You know what
you're gonna Jeff over at Keepin, he's doing a great job.
Yep, he is.
You know, me and Woodrow, we're in the same car trying to get this thing figured out. Yep. Blunt, again, man's had the job, 10, 11 years? Has he had a losing record yet? No. Like, what are we talking about? So the district, you know, Denbigh, again, they did something the other day. Antoine Stark, well, he's always poured into the program, but a lot of people trying to rally around and, you know, get that fixed. And you know, the conference, I think it's good.
It's definitely on the up, man. Like you said, a lot of these, just look at Minchville and Ward. I mean, a few years ago, you know, nobody even talked about Minchville was basically what Denbigh is now.
Right.
You see, a few years later, they got a new coaching staff and they revived that program. So, you know, it's always like, I don't care what anybody say, any Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, you in for a game. You got to be ready.
Absolutely. And all those guys, again, Corey and Rodney and all those guys, they're all great guys. On top of great coaches, they've done a lot to turn those programs around. So every game is going to be key. Yep. we have 6 seniors.
That's it?
That's it. We got 6 seniors.
Wow.
And I tell guys all the time, it's not an excuse, because whether you're a sophomore or a junior, if you took varsity snaps last year, you're a veteran.
For sure.
I can't push out we're young, we're young, but we're experienced. Those young guys have played a lot of varsity snaps. So again, I think it's getting the guys lined up right.
Yep.
I need you to understand what the seam is. I need you to understand what running the red line for the receiver means. I need a quarterback to be able to, read coverage,
right.
Find the apex defender, make the proper read, deliver the ball.
Yep.
But we do have some talent, man. It's young, but it's a lot of talent. Mason Perm, defensive end senior.
I read about him.
He just picked up CNU yesterday.
I saw that.
So he's up to about 5 or 6.
Okay.
He's a senior. Jaquil Bowens, he's a senior. He picked up Misericordia last week. Javon Tippins, he's back from last year, defensive tackle. We have trouble blocking him here at practice. Man, you better do this every game or I'm going to have a problem with you.
There you go.
We got Vic Romaine. He's a junior. He really good. He's a lot faster than I thought he was just from seeing the film from last year.
Right.
Cameron Waters. He's going to add a lot at the receiver. Okay. Still trying to figure out this quarterback thing, man. It's an open competition right now.
That's good, man. It's good to have competition on that position.
I was getting ready to ask you to come out here yesterday and take some snaps, man.
Hey, man, I got some eligibility left. Let me come out there and throw some balls down the field.
We got a handoff, got a gift from basketball. Andrea White, about 6'4", 245.
Nice.
Looks like a Greek guy. Trying to get him to figure out football.
Right.
Breon passed him off to us.
Yeah.
So we got a couple pieces. I think we're gonna be okay. Otis Howard on the defensive side. He started as a freshman, inside linebacker.
Wow.
Anthony Robinson, he started last year. He was the inside backer. He's moving outside this year. So Kamari Dillon, running back, and he's gonna play safety. Be like, it's a lot of talent. It's just young.
Yep.
But it's young, but it's experience. They've taken varsity snaps, so they don't get an excuse from me.
Right. And I didn't realize you only had 6 seniors. I saw some helmets hitting pads the other day, man. I had to back away, man. I felt the heat, man. Just standing back, man. You guys were getting it in practice the first couple of days of pads, man, knocking everybody out. That was good to see, man.
And they were excited about putting on those pads.
I know they were. All right, man. This has been great, Coach. I ain't gonna hold you up. This is the last segment, man. Call this Keeping It Real. Put you on the spot a little bit. Have some fun with it. Throw some quick hitters at you, man.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. I know you might hurt some feelings here, but give me the best player you've coached, Coach, in your career, your whole career. Best player
okay, I got to get some context on that.
Okay.
Are we basing on what they developed into being, or at that time that I had them?
All right, how about this? A combination of both. Maybe a guy you said he gonna be somebody after he leaves here, and then a guy you actually had to say, yeah, he a dog. That's the guy I like to see.
Probably Ricky Walker.
Yes, sir.
Ricky Walker, sophomore year, may have been the best year.
He was unblockable by his junior year. For real.
Man.
Nobody could check him.
It's probably Ricky. And I'm probably going to get some text messages or some messages later on from other people.
But see, that's the beauty of this, though, man, because you have so many players that you can name that were great, that did a great job. But Ricky, you can't get any complaints out of that one, though.
I love all you guys, though, but it's probably Ricky.
I mean, hey, Ricky was a man-child on that field by his junior year. He was doing it. All right, man, give me your Mount Rushmore of coaches that you've encountered that you think are some of the best coaches that you not only learned from, but just saw in action while you were an assistant.
John Davis.
Okay.
Jeff Nelson.
Okay.
George Massenberg.
That's a good one.
Tracy Arod.
That's a good list right there, man. Good list. All right, this might be the best question. You're a North Carolina native, right?
Okay.
Give me the best barbecue spot that you've been to in North Carolina. I'm a barbecue junkie, man. I love barbecue, especially North Carolina barbecue.
That's easy. Grandsons.
Where's that?
Grandsons. There's one in Fayetteville and there's one in Smithfield.
Okay. Oh, they got one. Okay, Smithfield, North Carolina. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Oh, probably hands down the best.
Okay, I got to check that out on my way down 95, bro. All right, man. Last question for you, Coach. I appreciate this, man. Your go-to message to a player, the one that you have in your back pocket and you hang your hat on when you try to motivate a kid.
I tell them that we can't complain about the results that we don't get from the work we didn't do.
That's deep. That's deep.
Complain.
I like that. That's deep right there, Coach. Hey, man, listen, Coach. It's a pleasure, man. I've been waiting for this, and I'm going to be following you the whole season. We're going to post this right around the season opener. So, I know you got some scrimmages coming up, but we're gonna get this locked in and have the people really know who you are, Coach Porter, man, and good luck to you at Bethel, my man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
My man.
This episode is sponsored by La Vida Agency. Protect, prepare, plan.